My name is Jay, the BCA. I live here in Nairobi and I live on $2,500 a month. So I grew up in an immigrant household where we talked a lot about other countries and we talked a lot about like how we migrated to Canada. My grandpa would tell me stories about how he kind of jumped off the ship in the United States and lived there illegally for a while before he became a doctor. Growing up that way, being exposed to the immigrant lifestyle and other groups of people, like people from Barbados, people from Trinidad, I always had that desire to go somewhere else. So I joined the military. I went somewhere else. I went to a couple of different places. So I came over here to Kenya. The first time I came was in 2022 or so. As soon as I got off the plane, Karibu, Kenya, and I just kind of felt at home. I kind of felt welcome, and I just fell in love with the culture, not only the culture, but like the food, the people, everything. That kind of drew me back to come back here. I started thinking about in my mind in 2022, how can I make it to where I could travel wherever I want, but specifically to Kenya? And that's what I started working on back in the States, and now I'm back here. Hey, what's up, y'all? Jay the BCBA. It's my house in Nairobi. Come check it out. So we start off with the kitchen. Washer and dryer here. Got some paintings and stuff. Here's Manhattan. Coffee maker, water machine, tea. Everything I need is right in here. It's kind of small, but it works. Here's the fridge, dining room table, little quiet and quaint vibe. Another painting right here from Amsterdam. Some more decorations and things over here. Set the ambiance with the blue lights. More paintings. Usually we can see some monkeys right here on this tree, but they're not here today. Maybe because it was rainy yesterday, but they're either here or over there in that red tree. Here's the working area. This is where I am like 90% of the time where I'm in my apartment. Here working on supervision, doing supervision for my clients, doing meetings, whatever the case may be, do it right here. For this apartment, everything's included in it. I get 2 times a week, I get maid service, I get the cleaning service, I get the water, the electricity, everything is included, and it's about $850 a month. So for that same thing in the United States, it would be at least, let's say, $2,000 because of the area and how close we are to everything. So the cost is less than half probably, and then you also get the maid service with it. So I wouldn't say I'm leaving the US behind. I would say that I found that I enjoy being in Kenya more. It feels more at home. It feels like something more comfortable for me, things of that nature. But I still have a clinic back in the United States that I run virtually, like we were talking about with that area over there. And so that's something that I still have to do, you know what I mean? I still have to go back there sometimes. But if I could, and eventually the goal is to move fully here to Kenya, because I feel so comfortable here. I feel free. I feel at home. And not only that, there's a big community of people here that also make me feel even more at home. Like I hang out with guys named Austin, Bobby, maybe y'all heard of them. And a couple other guys that I hang out with, like Trey and other guys, that make it feel like back home, but while being in this great environment of Kenya. I would say if you budget around $2,500, you can live, and that's spending $2,500 per month. You could live very comfortably. You can eat out whenever you want to eat out. You can have a very nice apartment like this one. You can have a person who comes and cleans for you. You can have transportation anywhere you want to go. And that's about $2,500. That's what my budget is anyways for living here. And I live comfortably, and I'm usually under that number. I would say about $800-900 for rent. And then I would budget about $400 for groceries, $500 maybe if you go to a grocery store twice a week like I do, because fruit and vegetables are less expensive here. So you're not going to spend as much as the States, but I go to the grocery store twice a week because I cook for myself and I eat healthily and I try to get fresh fruit and vegetables. So you got 500 plus 900, let's say that's 1400. Let's say 600 or so, 500 for transportation. 500 would be pretty steep actually. That would bring you to around 2000 or right around that number. And that would get you from wherever you want to go. That would get you to wherever you want to go. You can even take a trip to Mombasa once in that month if you wanted to, and you would still be under that $500 range. And then another 500 for just doing whatever you want to do. If you want to go buy some clothes, if you want to go to the club, if you want to get you some shisha, you have that extra $500 buffer to where you could do what you want to do. So then it comes out to about 2,500. Yeah, so a day in my life in Kenya is kind of like, I wake up at about 8 or so, cook breakfast, hang out, look at the monkeys outside of my window, get ready for the day, do my laundry in the morning maybe. It's 8-hour difference between here and the United States where I work primarily. So the meetings that I'm able to take or the things I'm able to do that early in the morning, or so 8 a.m. would be 12 a.m. back in the States, is kind of limited, but I could respond to emails. I could look and see if I missed anything from the previous day. I can kind of hang out for that time. So I eat breakfast, go to the gym at about 12 or so, 11. Maybe I'll take a walk. So a lot of times I walk to the gym. It's about 2.5 kilometers from where I live, and maybe I'll vlog that day or something of the sort. So get to the gym, do some vlogging, hang out, go to a place called Nairobi Street Kitchen, which I'm partnering with them pretty soon, and they have great food. Hang out there, maybe take a meeting. Yesterday I had a meeting for a personal assistant, so that's the one that I'm going to bring on to kind of help me with my paperwork and everything. And then after I'm done with that, get back here at maybe 5 p.m. local time, which is 9 a.m. back in the States, Central Standard Time. So then I start working at about that time, and I'll do supervision with my clients, maybe in North Carolina or Houston, and kind of do supervision with them, work over their programming, see what I could fix, see what I can change. And then after that, maybe order some food. Or last night even, I went to my friend Trey's house. He lives over in Kilimani, so I just took an Uber right over to his house, and then he cooked like some pasta and stuff, hung out over there for a little bit and came back. And, you know, just chilled. So I have about 15 to 20 clients in between that number. I own a clinic in the area that I'm from, and that clinic provides me with income. Obviously, I see the kiddos there remotely, and I provide remote supervision to my staff as well. And I also do contracting with 2 other companies where I see the kiddos as well in the home, in the clinic, and I provide treatment for them by doing the treatment care, or adjusting the treatment as needed. Like, for instance, if they're on a manding protocol or if they're on a tacting protocol, I kind of change that up for them, which is asking for what you want. And because my primary thing that I do is children with autism, and I provide treatment for them. So those 2 other companies, I do that as well. I contracted with them, as well as my major company that I actually partner with. And then I do some remote teaching, basically, where I have a student where she's trying to accrue her internship hours, and I provide her with the supervision to accrue her internship hours so she can too become a BCBA. I would explain my work in layman's terms as children with autism need somewhere that they can go in order for them to live the lives that their parents want them to live, that they want to live. And the place that they go is ABA therapy. I provide ABA therapy. And that therapy is something that will be trauma informed, meaning I'm going to try to help them brush their teeth, wash their face, put on their clothes, things of that nature. But I'm going to do it with trauma-informed care, meaning I'm not going to try to force them or push them or hold them and do all the things that ABA used to be. So in the layman's terms, I help children with autism become fully functional adults, fully functional children. And I meet them where they are, and then I coach them up and try to get them to be where their parents would like them to be, but not only their parents, where they would like to be. So my first impression of Kenya was that it was very underdeveloped. The roads were terrible. The trash was terrible. I'm a person who's been to Japan. You can go to Japan and be there for a year and not see one speck of trash on the floor. So the trash on the floor, things of that nature. It was kind of a culture shock when I first got here. Then as I, like week 3 or 4, I started to kind of get used to it and started to realize the way that they were. So that first impression changed over time, but initially it was culture shock and the fact that the infrastructure was not great. Some of the things that surprised me most about Kenyans is their friendly nature. I'm still kind of surprised by it to this day. How, okay, let's talk about the traffic. Let's talk about the cars. When they're driving in the US, if somebody cuts you off, they're going to curse you out. They're going to scream at you. They're going to yell. They might throw something at you. They might pull out a gun on you. Here, if somebody cuts you off, they're just like, all right. They don't even say anything. It's like they're not even mad about it. So that surprises me still to this day when I'm in Ubers. Also, like when you go somewhere, everywhere I go, like say I go to a lounge or a restaurant, people are coming up to me like, hey, how you doing? What's up? What's up? Like basically saying that in their own Kenyan way. Hey, how you doing? Karibu, things of that nature. So that still kind of surprises me how welcoming they are, how much they will allow you to like come into their space and welcome you with open arms. And some other things that surprise me about Kenyans is how hardworking they are. They're very hardworking, and they're very intelligent as well. Talking about my personal assistant a little bit earlier, she's very intelligent, but she can't really find a job. And I found an opportunity through my conference that I did, and she helped me plan it and everything, to hire her as my personal assistant because she's so intelligent. She does everything the right way. She's trustworthy. You know, she knows how to do all of my systems. So the intelligence, the hardworking nature of them. Some other things is sometimes they can be, the men, I would say, sometimes can be a bit rude if they feel as if you are like talking to their women or something like that. Say, for instance, I'm out with like a group of my friends, maybe, you know, like a couple of people, Bobby or Austin or whatever the case is, or Trey. And then we're just hanging out at a place called Gecko. And maybe, you know, things happen sometimes, and maybe we might start talking to people that we don't really know that well. And the guys are just kind of looking at us like, what are those guys? You know, those guys think they're, you know, you can kind of feel the vibes that they just don't really like what's going on. So that's kind of surprising as well.
Hey Web Nation family, quick question for you. If you're watching this, chances are you've been thinking about what it could take to actually relocate to Africa. Maybe to South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, or beyond. If this is you, I want to personally invite you to join the Web Nation waitlist. This is your early access to our relocation step-by-step course and even our guided tours across Africa. By joining, you'll be the first to know when new guides drop for your country of choice, and you will unlock early bird discount plus exclusive bonuses. And when we launch our tours to South Africa and Zanzibar, waitlist members get first steps before seats sells out. If you are serious about relocating, starting a business, or just experiencing Africa in a whole new way, scan the QR code on your screen if you are watching on TV, or click the link below to join the Web Nation waitlist today. Now I can't wait to see you inside. Let's get back into the video.
So the community, I have found a supportive community of not only Kenyans, but also Americans. I've hung out with a lot of different American guys that I've met, and you've met as well. Some guys that you'll probably be doing videos with, and they welcome me with open arms. Even guys that I've watched their videos even before I got here. I met when I got here, right? And guys like Troy and guys like that who just welcomed me with open arms and made me feel as if I was a part of the family. So definitely felt welcomed in the expat community. In the Kenyan community, I felt welcome as well. When I did the conference, I had a lot of different people who reached out after the fact and want to partner. Actually, I just reminded myself I need to respond to some emails because a couple of people emailed me yesterday. I was like, hey, let's partner, let's do this, let's do that. And Kenyan people who are practicing here in Kenya. So I felt welcome in that community as well. I will say, going back to when I was talking about feeling welcomed and feeling accepted. Sometimes when you hang out with a Kenyan person as a man and they know you're an American, they want you to pay for everything. And that's something that, it is kind of frustrating because, like, I don't have a problem paying for a round of drinks. I don't drink myself, but I'll buy y'all, a round of drinks while I drink my tea. And I'm fine with that. But to a certain extent, and sometimes as an American here and people knowing you're an American, if you go out with like a Kenyan guy, he's going to expect you to pay for everything sometimes. And that's just not something we do in the States, right? If you have a friend and you go out with a friend, you buy him a round, and then next time y'all go out, he buys you a round type deal. But here, I've noticed that people kind of try to take advantage of the fact that I'm an American. So my life in comparison to the US is much different because, for one, I don't have to. In the US, I would go to the office a lot. And in the US, you kind of feel pressure to go to the office. You kind of feel pressure to work harder and do all those things. So I would do that, and then I would just feel drained. Like, as soon as I get to the office, I would feel a little bit more drained than I was before I got there. So yeah, my life is different in that way because I don't have to go to the office. I don't have the luxuries and the things that I could do here. Like, I can't walk to the gym in the US. I have to get in a car. Or I don't have, surprisingly, in the US, I was there for 30 years or so. And I have much more friends in Nairobi than I did there. So that's very interesting. Here I hang out pretty much anytime I want to with any friend I want to. I have a ton of friends here, and that is just kind of the nature of Nairobi. You just kind of make friends. In the US, people are more to themselves and they don't really hang out together much at all. So in the US, it was much more lonely. It was much more taxing on me mentally. I will still do the same thing as far as working out, as far as doing my supervision. All of those things would be the same. It was just, I didn't have as much of a social life in the US that I do here in Nairobi. My income has actually increased since I went to Nairobi because I would attribute that to being more free and feeling better about my day to day and just being able to do my work better because I feel better. The income for a BCBA average salary is about $90,000 per year USD. And I've been in the field for a long period of time, so I make more than that, obviously. I also have other ventures that I have going on, like I was explaining earlier about the teaching and things of that nature. So I do have other income outside of just the salary that you will see for a BCBA. BCBAs are also very in high demand. So if you go on Indeed and just look up BCBA right now, you're going to see thousands of jobs because we're so needed in the field. And I attribute me being able to make more money than I did in the States to being more happy in general, honestly, and feeling more free and feeling better in my work. And I love what I do, but I really love what I do when I'm feeling great about myself. Annually in the US, the average is about 90,000, but you can easily get to about 120, 130 if you're in positions like I am in. I'm working remotely right now, but I'm also planning to go back pretty soon to try to set up some things and then coming back here. So the answer to the question is I'm doing both. I plan to do both, and I plan to work remotely while doing my supervision over a long period of time and like doing my treatment plans. But also I plan to go back and really put my eyes on things and really try to figure out how I can expand even greater with my business. Kenya is definitely more affordable than America, and surprisingly, some things like if you have La Roche-Posay, the face cleanser, that would be twice the amount than it is. It would be twice the amount here than it is in the U.S. So things like that, like premium products like cologne, are more here than in the U.S. But generally speaking, everything is pretty much cheaper here than it is in the U.S. Even like the fruit, the vegetables, transportation, anything, the rent. So the visa and residency options are pretty not great here in Nairobi, honestly. I'm looking to get a work visa right now, which is going to cost me about 1.2 million Kenyan shillings, which is about 10,000 USD. The reason I want to get that work visa is because I want to open up a clinic here. In order for me to open up a clinic, I need to get that work visa and be legitimately here in Kenya practicing ABA. I already did get my IBA, which is my International Behaviors Analyst, that credential. I got that like last week. And that would allow me to practice here with the work visa, but the visa situation is not great in that sense. Also, you can get another visa, which is called the Nomad, the Digital Nomad visa. The Digital Nomad visa will cost you about 2,000 USD, so not great either. And that will give you, I believe, 3 years of being in Kenya. The other option and the option that I'm on is the 5-year visa, which you have to leave every 6 months or so. That one isn't great because, like I said, you have to leave every 6 months or so, and you have to reestablish yourself in Kenya. So the visa situations aren't great, to be honest, and I wish we could figure out a way for it to be more affordable, because 10,000 USD to have a work visa here in Kenya is kind of expensive in my opinion. My misconception about Kenya was that it was a place where people were poor, people were hungry, people were unintelligent, people were just starving. And that's the Western media feeding that to me, right? For 30 years. So for 30 years, Africa is this, Africa is that. Africa only has these starving children that we put on the screen for you to feed. So you start to feel like that, feel like Africa as a whole is that. And then once you get here, you realize that it's the complete opposite when it comes to the people's intelligence. They're completely brilliant people when it comes to people being wealthy or not. If you walk down my neighborhood right here, you'll see Mercedes, all type of different vehicles. Not only that, you'll see very nice cars. You'll see people who are affluent, and then as well as like the cultural aspects of things. Like everybody doesn't know how to speak English in Africa. That's another thing that kind of westernized media pushes to you, that people here speak some type of African tongue, and that's not true either. People here speak great English. My family and friends thought that I was crazy when I told them I wanted to do this. They didn't necessarily say that outright, but I could pick up the vibes, and I'm a behavior analyst, so I'm kind of paid to do that. And they would kind of tell me things like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you going there? What's so special about there?" But once again, the Western media teaches us a certain narrative about Africa that's not true. So I don't blame them for that. They think that I'm out here living in a hut and there's AIDS everywhere around me. But obviously that's not true. And so when I explain that to them, when I explain why I want to move here, and then I put up on my YouTube channel like different things that I do here, now it starts to open up their mind a bit, and now they kind of understand it, right? So My friends and family definitely weren't open-minded to it at first, but now they definitely are becoming more open-minded to it. And I don't care if they are or not, to be honest. In Nairobi, Kenya, I experienced colorism, but not the way that you think. I experienced colorism in a way that when I go to a restaurant, I notice that I'm treated better than a regular Kenyan person who is darker than me. So that's the way that I experience colorism, and I don't think it's right at all. And each time I kind of try to call it out, I'm like, hey, that person was standing waiting and you just called me up. You know what I mean? Like, that's not fair. So I definitely experience colorism in that way, in the sense of I'm a lighter skinned person. I don't necessarily look like I'm Kenyan. I think most people can kind of sniff out that I'm a foreigner, and they try to treat me better because they think that I have money. So I experience colorism in that way. I don't think it's right either. I think that Kenyan people should treat each other better. So the contrast that I would make to the US as far as colorism is, it still exists in the US, right? So colorism exists in the US in the way that light-skinned people are treated better, in my opinion, in the U.S. So a light-skinned girl is going to get more attention from people than a dark-skinned girl would. And, that's just my opinion. That's just what I noticed. And I'm taking into consideration that most of my family is light-skinned. So I've kind of seen it over time that light-skinned women are treated a little bit better than dark-skinned women for the most part. Barack Obama, I don't think Barack Obama would have been elected if he was darker skinned, in my opinion. Because people like to look at lighter skinned people more so. Like, they think that lighter skinned people are better in a sense in the US. I would say that it's a little bit more covert there. Like, it's a little bit more hidden, but it still exists for sure. And then if you're a person that is white, you automatically you're at the top of the totem pole. But a lighter skinned person like a Patrick Mahomes, a Steph Curry, those type of people, those type of colors, they would get treated better than a guy that kind of looks like LeBron, or kind of looks like a darker skinned individual. So in Kenya, I feel accepted for the most part. Sometimes I feel like the acceptance is fake, to be honest. Sometimes I feel the acceptance is a little bit fake, because I feel like the acceptance is because they think I have money. It goes back to money. So sometimes I feel that a little bit, like, the security guard is coming up to me, but also he wants a tip, right? The guy at the mall, he's more than willing to help me in his store, but also he thinks I'm going to buy something. So he's very welcoming because of that. So sometimes you get that feeling as well. Not to discredit the Karibu Kenya that is here, the welcome to Kenya, the welcoming spirit. But sometimes I feel like the acceptance is a little bit fake, because they assume that I have a little bit of money, or more money than the average person here. I would definitely move back to the US. I am kind of a rare person, because you've heard me talk for this long about how much I love Kenya. I also love the US. There's just great people in the US. There's great places in the US. And the main thing for me is there's great money in the US. So for me, my plan is to move back and forth, kind of doing that for a while, and then eventually moving overseas completely, probably in Nairobi, and then planting my flag here, and then maybe going back and forth from Nairobi to Barbados or something of that sort. So that's kind of my long-term plan, but I definitely will continue to go back and forth to the US, because I still have money ties there that I want to make sure that I'm still keeping flowing. Understand your financial situation. Don't lie to yourself. If you're not good with money, do not come to Africa, because here you're not going to be able to make money right away. I don't care who you are. If you're O'Shea Duke Jackson and you come here and you have 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, you may or may not be able to make a living here. O'Shea Duke Jackson has planted his flag, has been here for a long period of time, and he's able to do what he's doing, right? But you're not him. So really understand that Africa is a difficult place to make money. It's a difficult place to do things. It's different than the United States. The things do not work the same. So really understand that you need to have a good amount of money saved up. I would say let's say 10 grand. And then you need to have at least 5 coming in a month. If you do not have an income, do not come to Africa for a long period of time. Because if you come to Africa and you do not have an income, you're not going to make the same amount of money right away. And it's probably going to take you at least 5 years to make a good amount of money here. So I would say to really understand that money aspect of things, because if not, you're just going to end up going back to America and you're going to be broke. What I wish I knew before moving to Kenya was what I just said about the how difficult things are to get done here. I came here kind of optimistic about doing the conference, setting up a clinic, I'm gonna be one of 5 BCAs here, so they need my expertise and they're gonna allow me to kind of open up my own thing if I have the capital to do so. And coming in, I thought that I was going to be able to do that, but the systems here do not allow you to work the same way that they do in the United States. So I wish I kind of knew that. I wish I kind of knew that people here are kind of opportunistic. The same thing in the United States, but it's different here, right? Because you are a U.S. citizen, they will be opportunistic against you and try to take advantage of you in pretty much every turn. I was scammed from an attorney. He wasn't an attorney. I paid him, and then come to find out that 200,000 shillings that I paid him just kind of went up poof in the air, and he didn't do anything I asked him to do because he was a fake attorney. So getting scammed and things of that nature is kind of comes with going somewhere like a Kenya, like a Ghana, like a South Africa, because they know the lay of the land and you don't. And then if you try to just come here and act like you do, they will scam you. So if I were to send a message to my past self before I moved to Africa about what I would do now, like a message that I would give him was just let things happen and don't rush into things. I think that ambition that we have growing up in the United States is something that exists pretty much only in the United States, right? Like the thought that you can do whatever you want to do and everything is possible is kind of something that is exclusive to the United States, because other countries, you have to do a lot of different things in order to have the same success as you do in the United States. Like, for example, like building a YouTube channel like you've done is probably much more difficult from Ghana or wherever you did your videos than it is from the United States. Things are a lot easier, systems a lot better. So I would say slow down, know that you're not in the US anymore, and kind of tamper your expectations a little bit. In the next 5 years, I see myself owning multiple clinics in different countries, still one in the United States, and then hopefully one here in Kenya, and then working on one in my native country of Barbados, moving back and forth primarily to Barbados and Kenya rather than the United States, trying to get kind of away from the United States, from going back and forth there, but keeping my ties there as far as my real estate property I have there and then the clinic. So my final message I would have for you all is do what you want to do. Like I was talking about earlier, don't care what your family or friends are saying about you, because they can't live your life for you. What you eat does not make them poop. So don't worry about people's opinions. Go out there, do what you want to do. And if it is to move to Nairobi, Kenya, if it is to move to Accra, Ghana, if it is to move to Johannesburg, South Africa, do that. Do what makes you happy, and do not take people's opinions. Do not care about what people say about you. Just control the controllables and move forward and do the best that you can in your life.